So I woke up this morning and I got up and looked at the news, which was a big mistake. I try not to look at the news because the news pisses me off most times. And I look on CNN.com and there's a headline there and it says, Gavin Long, the scumbag who, well, it didn't say the scumbag, but the piece of shit who killed 3 Baton Rouge police officers, suffered from PTSD. That's the headline on CNN this morning. And obviously I got pissed off. And as we know, that Gavin Long, the piece of shit who killed 3 Baton Rouge police officers, and then Micah Johnson, who killed 5 Dallas police officers, they were both veterans. And when I saw the headline, I was like, I knew it was coming. I knew they were going to try and do this. Boggles my mind. It boggles my mind how journalists don't do their research. Gavin Long was data. That was his MOS, data. I forgot the full title of the job, but he worked on computers. Served in Iraq for a year. He got an Iraq campaign medal, but you spend a certain amount of time just being in Iraq, you get an Iraq campaign medal. No combat action ribbon. The most this fucker got was a fucking paper cut. And yet, CNN decides to report that he had PTSD. What the fuck? What the fuck? Seriously, and I'm writing a blog about this, but scapegoat. You know, in ancient Jewish tradition, a scapegoat was a goat, an actual goat, that the priest would lay the sins of its community down upon and then cast out into the wilderness. And today it means something different. It means when we place blame on a single person or a group of people for something negative that they had nothing to do with. And a lot of people out there are probably saying to themselves, well, what's the big deal? Why are you so mad at the fact that the media is claiming he had PTSD? I'm mad because it means a whole lot to a lot of us. There are thousands of veterans who live with PTSD every day. I don't even want to put the D on the end of it. They live with PTS, post-traumatic stress, every day. There's a lot of them who have come out better from their experiences, who have become stronger, who have worked to overcome their challenges and who have become stronger. There's some of us who are still struggling. There's some of us who are having a hard time. And a lot of us have had to live underneath the stigma of PTS and everything associated with it because the media consistently pokes us and consistently tries to drive home that people with PTS, people who served in the military, are broken. You know what? That's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. And what they don't understand, well, maybe they do understand this, but when a veteran is trying to apply for a job and they've suffered from PTS, which could be a perfectly normal reaction to something like combat, and they have to deal with headlines that say, you know, this killer had PTS, that killer had PTS, when the guy was a fucking computer guy, and then they have to explain that they're not violent. Yeah, that goes over really well in a fucking job interview. Not to mention the fact that veterans are some of the biggest supporters of Second Amendment rights. And the fact that a lot of us are gun owners, as is our constitutional right. But now we have to deal with the fact that some people might try to take that right away from us and use things like this as justification for it. You know, I try to stay positive on here. I do, and for those of you who are just as pissed off about this as I am, you know, I think the lesson here is this. Be very wary what you believe in the media. Be very wary of what the way people try to describe certain situations, especially as they pertain to veterans and our state of being. You know, it's a tragedy in my mind. You know, it's a tragedy that these officers were killed. It's a tragedy that their families have to deal with this pain and this grief when these officers did nothing but take an oath to serve and protect. It's a tragedy that the real issues aren't being talked about here. It's a tragedy that veterans and those who suffer with PTS are now about to serve as scapegoats when nobody's talking about the ideology. Nobody's talking about the things that actually probably led to something like this. You know, nobody talks about Lee Harvey Oswald as a communist. You know, we always hear about him as a United States Marine Corps veteran. It's, you know, it sucks that those of us who serve and try to come back, try to live good lives, have to deal with something like this. And I'm going to try and come up with some more positive stuff for you. But for now, I just had to vent. And I'll put the link to the blog below. I love you all. I hope you're all well. Peace.